What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time, it's for Exosisters. So this deck kind of is very reliant on whatever the format kind of currently is as to whether or not it's good or not. At the moment, it's alright. I've decided to go for like a going first build, just designed around simply controlling the board and then pushing for game on turns 3 to 5. But you can kind of change it up any way you want. Something about this list is I'm not going to be playing the Magister stuff. So if that is the kind of build you're looking at going down, this probably isn't the deck profile for you. But as always, before we do get started, please remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people to the channel. And let's get on into this deck profile. Before we do get started on this one though, it is brought to you of course by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful NolanTCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code NolanTCG for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats down. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we have our first starter. It's 3 copies of Exosister Sophia. So if you control another Exosister monster, draw 1 card. It's not the best Exosister. Why it's the ultra rare, I don't know. I guess the other 2 that are supers, it is kind of like consistently good. And it's your plus, which isn't terrible. Of course, they will have the same effect where you can special summon an Exosister from the extra deck using it as material if your opponent moves the card from their graveyard. But yeah, essentially you're trying to combo this off with other Exosister cards just to net you pluses in this going first build, and then you just try and set a bunch of back row, win from there. Then we have probably the best Exosisters, which are these next 2. We're playing 3 copies of Stella. So Stella lets you special summon one from the hand. You typically want to combo that with the Sophia if you can. And then we have 3 copies of Exosister Ellis coming through after that. So this is the one that just generically special summons itself from the hand. All of them can interact with your Sophia if you draw like 2 separate names. So that's a way that you can net that +1. And yeah, overall, you're just trying to go through the deck, get as many extenders as possible, or hand traps, or traps, stun the opponent, and then you'll kind of understand as we get through the profile how are they going to try and win the game after. We then go into our extenders. So we've got 3 copies of ZS Ascended Sage. Level 4, free special summon. That's pretty much it. It does add you the rank up magic. We are actually playing the rank up magic for a cute little combo you can kind of do with the extra deck. Then our other generic extender. It's 3 copies of Gigabyte. So Gigabyte, if you control a spellcaster monster, special summon this card from the hand. Nice and easy, plain and simple. You just slap it down on board with one of your Exosisters, you make a rank 4, and you start playing the game. Then we go into our hand trap line. So we are playing pretty much a maxed out hand trap line. We have a lot of variance in this deck, so you can afford to realistically play whatever you want. For us, we've gone with 3 copies of Effect Veiler and 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. Just probably the 2 most generic hand trap based monsters in the format right now. So yeah, just playing 3 of each of those. Then we get into our spell and trap cards. So starting us off, we have 3 copies of Exosister Pax. Quick play spell, rather cute thing to realize because you can just use it on your opponent's turn. Simple, pay at 100, add an Exosister. If you have the other attribute in your, or the other name, because they all kind of match. If you have the other name in your field or graveyard, special summon the monster you added. We aren't playing the other name for Sophia because it's bad. Like, it's just like not good, so there's no reason to play it at all. You just play the other 9, you don't need the other 3 names. And yeah, Pax is going to typically add those cards deck to the hand. You know, just gives you generic consistency. Then we have 2 copies of Exosister Armament coming through after that. So pay at 100, target an Exosister you control, and special summon an Exosister Xyz monster from the extra deck. Like, plain and simple. Again, quick play, good card. Then we go into our generic one-offs. I guess these are our rank up spells. So for our spell cards, we've got our 1 copy of the hyper rank up magic. So we're using this to get us through to our spell negate on the board. And then 1 copy of double or nothing to push for game. Each of them is just kind of the search when you're going first, and then you use the other when you're going second, of course, because it's double or nothing. And that is typically game against some weaker boards. Then after that, we've got our 1 copy of Call by the Grave, which is our final spell card. It's not super bad if you get hit by hand traps in this deck, because you do have a lot of just kind of generic extenders. It's when they get hit on the Xyz, which is a problem, so you want to try and use that Call by the Grave as much as you can. Then we go into our trap line. As I said at the start of the profile, this is a going first build, so you do have a thick trap line. Starting us off, we have 3 copies of Exosister Vardis. Really, really good card. Gets you just generic consistency and like all your names onto board. And that's pretty much what you need to do in this deck. And then if your opponent's playing a deck that special summons from the graveyard, guess what? You're going to go hard plus on that. And they're probably not going to have the funnest of times. Then after that, we have our Solemn line. So we're playing 3 copies of Solemn Judgment, 1 of each rarity so you don't brick. And then 2 copies of Solemn Strike. Again, just going first, trap cards you can set, shut your opponent down, and then try and win on the follow-up turn. And then, after that, the last cards in the main deck, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Okay, now we move into our extra deck, and starting us off, we have the best of the Exosisters. It's 3 copies of Malekith. Adds you the spell or trap card if you make it going first. Of course, you do get the free banish on the turn it's summoned as well, which is always pretty good. It does target though, which kind of sucks. So it's not your Dragoon out if your opponent's playing Dragoon, but that's not super prevalent in the current format, so we don't necessarily have to worry about that. Something to keep in mind with all of the Exosister Xyz monsters as well, you are typically going to be able to summon these cards when your opponent summons back their DPE, so that is something to keep in mind. They say if your opponent, you have your Malekith on board, your opponent summons their DPE, they use their DPE effect, you Malekith banish it. Because that is always a cute way to play, isn't it? Then we have one-offs for the rest of them. So playing the 1 copy of Sophil, 1 copy of Jabreen, and 1 copy of weirdly the best one. That's one of the one-offs. It's Capstel. Simply because it's just a generic searcher for another Exosister monster. You typically can use this to get into a Utopic Future Draco line, which is what we're actually going to talk about next. So we got a Utopic Future package after that. Typically, you are going to use the Capstel to search the one that special summons itself when you have an Exosister. So you slap that down on board, and then you have hopefully another extender from there, and then you kind of win from there. Maybe you don't win from there, but you've got a negation on board, you back it up with some back row, then hopefully kill them next turn. Good things, good things. Then we have our Utopia line. So of course we've got our Draco package, but now we've got our Utopia double. And then we are playing 2 copies of number 39 Utopia. This is simply because you need 1 for going first and 1 for killing your opponent. So the first one is used to go into your Draconair with the rank up spell. So you're going to go into the Draconair and then into your Hope Harbinger. The second one, of course, gets you through to your double or nothing line. So you do necessarily need to have 2 Utopia. You don't need 2, by all means. You can play 1. But you do need to keep in mind that if you use the 38 line, you can't use the your second Utopia or double line. Because you need to use a Utopia monster for the rank up magic. Unless I'm missing something on any of my card texts, yeah, you need to have a Utopia monster to go into your Draconair off the quick play spell, off the rank up magic spell. Then after that, we are playing 1 copy of Utopic Sage. Again, we're using this for the general combo where you go Capstel, Utopic Sage, or you can go Utopic Sage, Capstel. Yeah, it works like that. And then you get into your 2 rank 4s. They're non-number monsters. You slap them down into your Utopic Future package. And then lastly, we have 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, because everything here is Xyz monsters, and when you attack, you make Zeus. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, do make sure to comment them down below. Weirdly, this deck is in a bit of an weird, awkward spot at the moment. Like, the best decks mostly have DPE in their lists, which means that this deck is good against the DPE. But against, like, other kind of generic decks in the format, it's not the best. So, it's definitely a hit or miss thing. I'd definitely tailor it to your locals. It is the kind of deck that is a solid rogue pick if you know your locals well and you know how to build around it. So yeah, as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG. Do remember to take that advice in, and have a good afternoon, everybody.